Like,
yeah.
From HYPEBEAST and Hype Radio, I am Jeff Staple, and this is The Business of Hype, a show about creative entrepreneurs, brand builders, innovators, and the realities behind the dreams they've built. Hey everyone, welcome back to The Business of Hype. Today's episode is part 2 of a special conversation with Round 2 founder Sean Wotherspoon. Now, if you haven't listened to part 1 yet, I suggest you do so now. Otherwise, this week's show will make very little sense to you. So yeah, go back now and listen, and we'll see you when you're done. Don't worry, we'll all wait. No pressure. Oh, you know what? For those of you waiting, can you do me a favor? Go to Apple Podcasts and leave a rating and comment about this show. It really helps. I prefer a 5-star rating and a glowing review, but of course, you can do what you feel is right. And while you're at it, hit up just one friend about this show, like someone you think would really get something out of these conversations that I'm having. It really helps a lot. Thanks. All right, they should be done soon. Okay, y'all finished with part 1? Cool. So let's get started. Here we go. The second episode of our 2-part conversation with Round 2 founder, Mr. Sean Wotherspoon. All right, I want to segue into this idea of consumerism.
Dope.
Because you were saying there's just you're sometimes surprised when you open a store that how much stuff people are bringing in, right? Do you ever like sit back and think about, man, we as earthlings have a ton of shit. We're like buried in crap.
It's insane.
And like you have to deal with it. Like,
yeah.
You know?
It's like a really, well, luckily, like we were saying, I'm kind of like a hoarder.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like when you're obsessed with shopping and buying stuff, to be able to sit behind a counter and spend the store's money and not your own and being able to see all that product, it's like fulfilling.
Yeah,
you know?
it hits that dopamine for
it
you. You're
does
like
hit that
shopping,
dopamine,
but it's
dude.
for business.
That's for business. But yeah, I don't know. Like we have so much stuff.
Yeah.
It's cool seeing this year how people are repurposing a lot and upcycling.
Do you think you're like part of that solution where it's like people are able to not hoard all the stuff?
Yo, guess what? I think
recycle
everyone in the world is on both sides. I think we're part of the problem and the solution. For anyone to say they're a part of the solution only, it's a fucking lie.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, it's a lie.
Yeah.
There's no way that every aspect of someone's life is like that.
Part of the solution, yeah.
I would love to believe that Round 2 is part of the solution, but I think we're just as much a part of the problem. But I think that that's also the best step is knowing where you are a part of the problem and like consciously trying to like fix that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's that's just like that's something we're working towards is trying to use more vintage to upcycle for our brand, trying to just figure out ways where it's like we're not just pumping out clothes like, every couple weeks or whatever. Just I don't know.
Yeah.
There's different ways around it, but I think it's cool to see a lot of people like doing upcycling and just repurposing clothes now. Like I know people hated it at first, but like how girls like redo the Supreme stuff and all that.
Yeah.
It's cool for what it is. You know what I mean? Like it's cool, dude. It's cool to see people like take things and cut it up and make their own because that's like something that then wasn't purchased, you know?
Right.
And I like that, So
yeah, me too.
It's sweet. But yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I think like, we do create like a lot of brand new clothing. A lot of it's made in China. A lot of it's made here in the US. But it's like, so for that reason being, yeah, we are part of the problem. But also I can say for the past 5 years that, Round 2 has bought like, 60% used goods. And so we really are kind of like
contributing at least.
We're contributing as much as we can as far as like, taking in old product and giving people somewhere to put things, educating people on vintage so they don't think it's just trash, you know. These shirts aren't just hitting the trash can, they're being reused or things like that. So I think we've definitely helped educate. I think we've helped like build a platform where people can kind of inspire on their own.
Yeah.
And I like to think that we've like maybe contributed to this whole new style where it's like, people are taking like a bunch of trash vintage t-shirts, but like cutting them up and making something new out of it. So I like to think that maybe we've contributed to like some of that inspiration there.
Right.
But we're trying, dude. Like we're trying really hard. I have a lot of cool ideas. Just like sustainability based on like, using recycled plastics and clothes and stuff like that I want to start launching this next year. So it's like, we're definitely working towards it, but it's just tough. Like you kind of have to
accept. You have to accept it.
Yeah. It's almost like you have to like give in and be a part of the problem at first to then make enough money and like opportunity to then
Solve it.
go back and solve it.
Yeah, you're
and
right.
And that's the great thing is that it's like, okay, you have to be a part of a problem to fix it. You can't just like, you can't not be a part of a problem and expect to fix it. You have to experience it. So
Totally. That's a great point.
you were trying to be as conscious as possible about just like being receptive, taking in, like learning as much as we can so that, you know, when we do make it to this point where we're like, okay,
Yeah.
we're able to just, you know, blow out all this organic clothing, then we can really make an impact.
Like
you
you're
know?
making a clothing line now, but
Yeah.
it's very easy for someone to sit on the sidelines who's never made a clothing line to be like, you need to be environmental. Like, why don't you make a shirt?
It's
Tell us
really
how
tough. Yeah, like where are you going to source your environmentally friendly
Right. We were
dyes
talking about it
and-
before we started where
Yeah.
you're like, oh, if I got all my fabrics from America and then had them assembled in China, well, then now you're shipping stuff all over the place. Like then there's the freight containers like,
and
polluting the oceans.
And so people have to know we try. It's like we had just the conversation of like, okay, how can we cost ourselves more money and more heartache just so people, you know, appreciate this, you know, what we're putting out. And it's like that everyone's looking at that. And I hope like the consumer and I hope everyone realizes that like even the big brands like Nike, Adidas, Puma, everyone right now, sustainability is at the top of their, it's top line, everything.
And it's not a gimmick right now.
It's not
like,
a gimmick. No. It's not a gimmick because they're realizing that they're losing money on it. And so the customer, the consumer right now is very educated and has more of an opinion than ever.
Right.
And all we want, like my generation specifically, all we want is to buy something and know that it went to a greater good.
It was a positive instead of a negative.
We have so many options now. It's like you could buy 1 million t-shirts, but you're going to buy the one t-shirt where it's like, yo, this t-shirt got 20 plastic bottles off the world because it's made out of recycled plastic.
Right.
You're most likely going to buy that one. You know?
Yeah.
And so I think like just giving people that information. Nike's always like, oh, well, we've always like practiced sustainability and like that's always been huge for us. I'm like, really? Like, so why didn't anyone say anything about it? Why wasn't anyone like, hey, sustainability?
Yeah.
It's huge.
Right.
Like even my sneaker was fully vegan. My sneaker was fully vegan and Nike couldn't say anything about it because they were worried about repercussions from PETA and stuff like that. You know, and it's like, so it's
wait, your shoe, your Air Max is completely vegan.
completely vegan.
But yeah, it's never
Couldn't
really
advertise it
highlighted.
because Nike's they said it's really tough for a brand like Nike to advertise something being vegan or plant-based because they do so much that isn't.
I know.
And so that's what also kills me, yo. Fuck this whole vegan thing. Like,
Fuck this whole vegan thing.
I love being vegan, but I'm saying it's like people think vegans come off like so heavy and shit. It's because most vegans do, and I hate it. Yo, it's like I hate this. I hate the whole vegan thing where they're like, oh, you're like. All right, so these documentaries and stuff like that, they only advertise to vegans.
Yeah, you're right.
You know
it's
what
like
I'm
a
saying?
circle jerk.
It's like oh, we only want. It's like, oh, you're not vegan. Like, why are you here listening to me? It's like, well, because I eat meat and I'm trying to learn how to stop. Asshole.
I got you.
You know
so
what I mean?
You made a product that everyone, like the biggest meat eater, wants your sneaker, not knowing that it's a vegan shoe.
Yeah.
But now he's inadvertently contributed. That's dope.
And that's what I was talking about. Where you have to get to these points, you have to kind of give in, and then you get to these points where you're able to really make an impact.
Yeah.
And if you're able to like embrace those milestones, it means a lot. But it's like,
do you know the account The Air Vegan?
Yeah, Air Vegan. That's so sick. I love that.
So that guy Daniel Nevada, he edits this show, which
Dope,
is very
what?
meta. Yeah.
Yo,
he's an audio editor for this show. Yeah,
I love that account. I was so happy when it started.
But he wants shoes. And he's like, I think there's leather on this. But like he does the research and he has no way of knowing whether there's actually leather in shoes.
Yeah, it's so I run into the same thing and Nike can't really give you an answer half the time. And it's like
why?
Yo, I don't know, dude. And you know
there should be a nutritional fact.
There should
label.
be 100%. I don't see why there wouldn't be.
It's on clothes.
Yeah,
like spandex,
it'd be great to know.
Why isn't there like
they only put on some shoes that they want to sell for more? They put the genuine leather tag on stuff that has to be a premium retail.
Right.
It's
We
like,
actually killed the cow for
It's
this.
like, can you just put it on things so we just know in general? Like, I don't know.
Have you heard that if they're trying to make headway into this, it'd be so amazing if they did?
No, they are for sure.
Okay.
Like that was like I'm not working with Nike as heavy as I was, but when I was like that was something that they were so interested in. It was just like overall sustainability, figuring out how to like become more plant-based, more vegan in a tasteful way. So like I said, it's interesting. Like that's big. But back to my whole like fuck the whole vegan comment thing. It's like I meant it in a way where it's like I hate how vegan people are so unaccepting to non-vegans.
Right.
It makes it so tough.
It's like culty.
Yeah, it makes it so tough to make an impact. It's like, dude, you gotta, and it's like vegan people or whatever hate on me all the time. Like, oh, a vegan, but you're wearing leather shoes. It's like, yeah, let me wear this leather pair of shoes like this one day out of the month.
Yeah.
I'm trying to build this platform here so then eventually I can get to a point where I can be like, hey, Like, you know, it's like I barely wear leather shoes. I wear like rarely.
Yeah,
I'll take a picture of a leather shoe to shout out a homie for doing something successful.
And you know you're gonna get hate on it.
And I know I'm gonna get hate on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But people just have to realize it's like, yo, like I'm doing something. I'm trying.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Right,
and that's I wish vegans would just like give in a little more and be like, yo, like let some non-vegan homies in on your shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, just be a little more accepting because you will make a difference eventually.
Right.
You know. But
we ran into similar issues because we did Nike Considered.
yeah, I love the considered
And
stuff, dude.
that was the same thing where like we wanted to talk about a lot, but we ran into that issue where people at Nike were like, but if we really promote Considered, what are we saying about our other 2,000 shoes?
Yeah, dude.
It's almost like we're trying to solve the problem, but in doing that, we're highlighting that we are contributing to the problem
and
too.
so that was consulted with them a lot on that, on how to really step into that in an organic, like tasteful way.
With your shoe.
Not with my shoe, just in general.
In general.
Yeah,
Okay,
just like in general of like how Nike can step into this space.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And I mean, my thing was really just like starting somewhere. I was like, I think being able to say my shoe is vegan would have been like the best foot in the door, you know? You know, just starting somewhere like, hey, like this dude's a vegan, so he did a vegan shoe. It's his pro model or whatever. It's not like Nike is like, you know, like, okay, we're doing vegan shoes now, da-da-da. It's like, hey, we have this collaborative who's coming in and he wants to do a vegan shoe. And, like, this is cool. And, like, maybe he can do a whole vegan line. And it's like we work this whole thing in. And, you know, because Nike was doing a lot of that back in the day. They did this whole, they did this project for Kenya, for the Kenya running team. And they made these shirts that were made out of recycled plastic.
Okay.
And it was 1.5 1 liters, or 1.5 2 liters made up each shirt. And I told Nike, I was like, yo, like, imagine we did 8,000 of my Nike t-shirts.
Yeah.
They sold out, you know, in a couple seconds or whatever. And it's like, imagine if we did that process for those. I was like, that would be 12,500
bottles,
2 liters off the earth just from my little release.
Yeah.
And so I was like, it's just things like that. And it's just about telling the story then.
Right.
Where it's like, hey, Nike, like, we know you're doing a lot of things like that are sustainable, but like, give us a story about it and like, tell us why, because it'll look so much more organic if we're able to give us like a really nice explanation and like this story behind it, as opposed to just like.
But when you put out your shoe, did people, you wanted to highlight that?
Said it a lot. Yeah.
Did they say like, let's minimize that?
I think they said like, try not to say like vegan specifically.
But it is vegan.
I know, dude. It was so tough. They like,
what?
Yeah, so I really would say like plant-based and like, you know, I would say plant-based and things like that.
Or
but
the emoji. Like you
yeah,
put the
yeah, like I
emojis,
did a lot of like the trees and stuff like that, but it was really tough to be like, yo, this is a 100% vegan shoe.
They didn't want that.
Yeah. Just
weird.
Yeah, and well, they wanted it, but like I guess like, you know, legal was like, this is just not, I don't know if this is gonna like really work, you know?
Risk assessment.
Yeah, but it was cool, like it was cool seeing Nike like work towards that though.
Yeah.
It was dope like having that, and then like our next 2 years was like, all right, we want to get past that. Like, how can we start saying that shoes are vegan, you know?
Right.
So it's dope knowing that like brands do care, dude. They care so much. Like,
it's just hard to move a $50 billion ship.
Yeah.
Like to get people to agree on that is tough.
That thing is in the sand. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like,
yeah.
It's crazy, but
Yeah. Sustainability is at an interesting point in footwear and fashion recently. Lots of news has come out about how the industry is one of the biggest contributors to Earth's problems. But it's also important that this trend doesn't become a trend. Sean's in a position where he sees firsthand the level of consumerism we as a society are at. Bundles of clothes and sneakers are brought to his shops every single day. And what I love hearing from him is the amount of awareness he has and where he sits within that problem. Yes, retail owners inherently perpetuate consumerism, but like what Sean mentioned, what you do in that position and the practices that you put into place in the business is even more important. Many brands today make a conscious effort to rethink how they source, package, and send their products out to the world. Sean is diehard about this, so it's great to hear how he's using the platform of Round 2 as a way to educate and inspire. Whether or not his Nike collab fulfilled his ambition for bringing light to veganism and sustainability, his effort to fight for it on the inside speaks volumes. There's definitely goodwill within the brand, but there's also a lot of time needed in order to make these types of changes at a company this large in scale. A brand like Nike may not be able to do everything because of 1,000 reasons, but they will no doubt do what they can to bring a creator's idea to life. If and when you're in the position of Sean, think of one thing: impact. What if Sean's shoe had veganism and sustainability plastered all over it? And what if because of that, only 100 pairs sold? The message would be loud and clear, but the impact might be small because of its polarizing effect. Instead, Sean releases a globally loved item. Tens of thousands enjoy it. Hundreds of thousands more admire it from afar. And the impact is huge, and it is still spreading to this day. So, while it's doing it more quietly, I'd argue it's doing it more effectively. Amazing. Okay, so let's recount a little bit this Nike relationship.
Okay.
Right. So talk about, I mean, you've told the story before, but like, let's talk about it one more time real quick. Like, how did this happen?
Yeah. So I can go a little further back. Like, it's not like I knew any of these people when I moved to LA.
Mm-hmm.
I moved to LA and just wanted to start like talking to whoever I could. And so like the first people I met out here was Bari, Ian, and Itai.
Mm-hmm.
And they literally just like started introducing me to people. Eventually just like I met like, one person from Nike, or no, I met Josh Madden.
Okay.
And he invited me he was like, dude, you're like obsessed with Nike, you know? And I was like, yeah, love it. You know? And he was like, I'm going to invite you to this like Jordan release party.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, when you get like your first like +1 RSVP thing.
Yeah.
And it's so sick. He sends me the email and it was like, dude, like I'm a +1 for him at this Jordan event.
Okay.
And so I went to it and just like used that opportunity to talk to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
It was my first time
at a Nike event.
It was my first time ever being able to talk to a Nike employee or a Jordan employee or whatever it was. So I just talked to everyone. I wore my best vintage Nike.
Yeah.
Ashley, my fiance, wore her best. We were fucking so fly in there, looking like these vintage Nike, aficionados. And, just started conversation. People started talking to us. And I was just like, I'm so interested, dude. Like, I'm just so like, in this category, I'm just down. It's not like I'm working somewhere where I hate it. It's like, shit, dude, if I meet someone we got something in common, I'm just down. So I just kept meeting all these Nike people, telling them about round 2, told them about all the vintage Nike I'd been collecting. And it just kind of like built some relationships there. And they were like, hey, like, let me get your name so I can throw you on our next invite.
Yeah.
And I was like, dope.
Right.
And so, like went to like another Nike thing, met more people and just honestly started becoming friends with them. And
were you getting seeded product?
No, I wasn't getting seeded any product.
Okay.
They would hit me up. Sometimes like someone from Nike would hit me up like, yo, I think the first thing I got seeded, they were like, yo, like, do you have any infrared Air Max 90s? We need them for a project we're doing with Matt Senna. And
you weren't getting seeded. They were asking you for product.
They were asking
to
me
get.
stuff because I had what they couldn't have access to.
Right.
I think I was one of the first people that they met who was really open to being like, you guys can have full access to my archive. And it's vast.
Yeah.
And so they were excited about that. And I just would give them shit for free. I wouldn't let Nike pay me for anything. Nike would like almost beg me. Like the point of contact would send me like 3 emails like, please let us know, like
please
whatever.
let us pay you.
And I'd be like, yo, like, don't worry about it. It's fine. Like, thank you guys so much for everything. You know what I mean? Just kind of like in my head, I was like, Nike's going to owe me a big one day. And like, I just can't wait if it ever comes. And like my girl would always say, she's like, why are you spending all this money on this Nike stuff? Like giving them like free shit and things. And I was like, honestly, I feel really honored to be considered for it. And I think like, they're not just going to like disregard it. And I think one day Nike's just going to like hook me up.
Yeah.
Be like, yo, we owe you one. Like this guy's always helped us out.
Right.
But, so like just that whole shit. And then eventually like one day, Kristen from Nike Los Angeles, she gave me a call and I didn't even know what it was for. I'm like, cool, maybe they need something, whatever.
Right.
And, Kristen called me and she was like, hey, like pretty much broke it down. And I was driving at the time and I just remember like pulling over
to concentrate.
And like, she was like telling me, and I just remember like yelling, dude. Like I hung up that phone and I was just like, man, like.
But this is not even saying that you got a shoe, right? This is to be part of the contest.
Yeah, it was just like, hey, Nike's got something going on.
The revolution
that we want you to be a part of.
Revolutionaires or something?
Revolutionaires. There was really like no brief at this point. She was like, hey, like how I told you that I would consider you. I even emailed her one time, just a random email at my house. I was like, hey, Kristen. Like it's been like nice meeting you and stuff. Like just wanted to let you know I love Air Maxes, and if there's ever an opportunity for anything with Air Maxes, like just know I'm down.
Yeah.
It was just a random email. Who knows if she read it?
If you don't ask, you never know.
If you don't ask, you don't know, dude. And so she like called me. She's like, hey, you know how I said like I would keep you in mind for stuff. She's like, I think we have an opportunity for you that's like Air Max involved. And she gave me like the quick rundown of like like you'll be in a contest, you'll get to design a shoe, and it'll be voted on. And I was like, no way. Like, dude, no way. Like, no way, dude. Just like, no way. You know what I mean? Like, that, like isn't real. And she was like, you can do a post on your Instagram kind of just saying like, like you love Nike and like there's going to be something happening.
Yeah.
And I remember the post, I was holding my chlorophyll Air Max 1s like this. I was out back around 2 at our back door. If you scroll back on my IG, you can find it. I have a red hat on, gray Nike sweatshirt, and I'm holding these. And I was like, I have something like really special to announce, or like something like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like, it's going to be like a long relationship with me and Nike. And it was just like, dude, man, that was
wow,
such a moment, yo. Yeah, it was insane.
If you don't ask, you'll never know. Remember those words. Not to sound cliche, but nothing is ever handed out. Even more so, some things aren't even in the open for you to grab in the first place. You have to seek it out and put yourself out there. In an industry where every role and every project is coveted, a level of hustle is always required. Who knows where Sean would have been right now if he didn't make a conscious effort to talk to anyone and everyone at that Jordan release party, or randomly email that woman from Nike about his love for Air Maxes. Whatever you don't do will never come to life. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. What other metaphor do you need? It's so universal because it is so true. So be bold, spark that conversation, and without a doubt, show that enthusiasm and obsession that you have. If there's a potential opportunity to network, that key person is probably talking to a revolving door of random people. So how will you break away from them with your own unique perspective? So that project started where you got to design a shoe.
Yeah.
And you turned it into like a collaboration amongst you and your homies.
That's what they wanted. I was the only person who followed the brief.
Yeah, everyone else was just on their own, dolo style.
Literally, we got a contract that told us the rules.
Where you were a conductor of a collaboration.
First rule was, okay, they wanted you to involve your community.
Yeah.
So they said for the design of your shoe, put together a design meeting with you and some of your best friends who you want to help design this shoe.
Okay.
Because it was supposed to be designed by the community, yo.
Right.
Like this was a community designed shoe, but we were like just the team manager.
Yeah,
you know?
I see.
And so I was like, all right, dope. I was like, I'm going to put together the most flawless group of sneakerheads I ever knew in my life. I was like, Ben Baller, the OG. Fran Elations, the fucking sneaker reviewer.
Yep.
I was like, my friends, the Kaji family, they're just your average consumer. They love shoes, but they're like a real life family who has like great jobs. And like, I wanted their opinion.
Yeah, normal.
Normal. My skater homies. My homie Gomez, who's the loudest black dude you ever met in your life. He calls everyone an N-bomb. It doesn't matter. I'm an N-bomb to him. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's whatever. Like, but he is the loudest, craziest dude, but he's got an opinion. You know what I'm saying? He's a skater. He rocked SBs, and it's like, Skate the Great, my other homie, he's like, he's just got the most tasteful fits I've ever seen. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I just put together this group of people where I was like, yo, if we get all these opinions on one shoe, it's the best shoe in the world. Because essentially it would appeal to every type of person.
Okay.
And that's really all I did.
You built like Voltron. You were like, all right.
And so that was Nike's thing. They're like, you need to build a group with your community, get them all together. You need to design the shoe right there, you know, film it and everything. I was like, cool.
Okay.
You know, I went into it. I sat at my house. I was like, I'm going to go into this with like 5 major ideas, see how they feel about it, and then piece it together. So my 5 things were, I love Air Max 1. I love Air Max 90. I want to do something with those. I was also talking about like Air Max 97, you know, things like that. And then I was like, I love corduroy and I love a lot of color. I want to do Easter colorway.
Okay. So those were your 5 like themes.
That was like, you know, that was like the themes, you know what I'm saying? And then when I went there, I asked them like, yo, how do you guys feel about corduroy material? And they're like, okay. All right. You know, we just kind of like go around. I'd be like, how do you guys feel about like all this color? And then Nas was like, nah, too Eastery. Like you got to throw brown in there or something. Like it needs something else. And so we made like the green darker and then we added like the brown. And it's like, we literally all went through from the bottom to the top. And we would go across each of us. We had a dude sitting there mocking it up.
Yeah.
Henry Song.
A Nike dude or your dude?
It was just someone Nike had like hired in.
Okay.
I think he works for Under Armour now.
Okay.
But, yeah, I mean, we just would.
And he was just like listening to you guys.
Yep, and we would call someone out. We'd be like, "Yo, infrared bubble," or like something like that. And then like he's working. We're like, "What does it look like?" And he turned around and we're like, "Damn, yo, like what?" We're like, and then Gomez was like, "Yo, this shit's a wave, you know what I'm saying?"
Yeah.
And then we were like, "Yo, it is a wave. Like, let's put the wave on the tongue. Like that shit's sick, you know?" And so we really like, we just went in, like as a community. And, you know, Nike had also told me I was like, so how can I advertise it? You know, like how can I get people to vote for me? And they were like, yeah, they were like, treat it like a presidential election.
Mm-hmm.
Exact words from Nike.
Right.
And I was like, so
petition for this shit.
Campaigning, like they're like, whatever you want to do to win.
Do you remember how many followers you had at that time?
Okay, so at that time I had, I think like 20-something thousand. Maybe.
Really? You had like 20,000 at that time?
And after Nike started announcing things, so once Nike fully announced like our shoes that people were going to vote on when they did that thing in New York, I think it was on an Air Max Day. Maybe
it was Air Max Day. I think it was it the first Air Max Day? Or
it was the second, I think.
Okay, second Air Max Day,
And they announced, they were like, here's these shoes that you guys are going to be voting on for next year.
Mm-hmm.
Once they made that announcement and we were on the Nike Instagrams, I got to 40,000 followers in like 2 days. It was insane.
Wow.
And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I was like, this is crazy. And from that point on, it's like, you know,
doubling every week.
Yeah, it was like, there was a point where it was like 2,000 followers a day.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, oh my God, this is insane, dude. And it's like, you know, it's since slowed down, but it's like, I mean.
So the voting actually happened at Air Max Day, or it happened like all throughout, and then the announcement was made at Air Max Day, right? So you went out to New York?
Yeah, I went out to New York. I was here.
Uh-huh.
And so they did like the Air Max Day there, they did the Air Max Day here. But that was the thing where it was like, you know, everyone was hating on me for like, you know, I would hit up Yachty and all these people I met. I didn't fucking like pay these dudes or whatever. It's like, like I said, I always talked to people. So if you came into Shop Round 2, I talked to you and I gave you a great experience. And I saw you pick out a vintage Redskins shirt. So then I was like, yo, I got this Redskins jacket that goes with that shirt.
Right.
And I just, you know, like I'm into this shit. And to see someone pick out something that I handpicked and to give them something else that they'll get excited about, I'm fucking hyped on that. And we'd exchange numbers. Yeah. And so I didn't know what I needed the numbers for, but I knew if Yachty's going to give me his number, I knew if Method Man's going to give me his number, I'll take it. You know what I mean? And so like when the sneaker thing,
so you have ridiculous phone numbers in your address book.
My phone book is disgusting. I love it. It's like my prized possession.
Who's the most sacred one that you have that you're like, how am I typing this name into my address book right now?
Oh my God. I know there's one that's David Arquette. That was like really crazy. Wow. Cause he's like an actor, you know? It's like that was weird. Man, I'm really trying to think like I know there's some good ones in here. I'd have to really go through and like figure it out. But like, yeah, it's dope. Like we just kept meeting people. And so I remember telling Nike, I was like, so I can just like hit up homies and be like, yo,
promote this.
Post about this. And like, and so my way of doing it was I would send them a picture of the shoe, but I would send them all the opponent's shoes. So I'd send them my shoe and then a link to where they could see the rest. And I'd be like, yo, Nike chose me to do this competition. I almost copy and pasted this to everyone. Yeah. I would tailor it a little bit, but I'd be like, yo, Nike chose me to do this competition. I designed this shoe with the homies. Here's mine. If you fuck with it, please vote for me and repost it. If not, here's the other options.
Someone else,
like they're all dope. You know what I mean? Right. And so a few of my friends, like they didn't fuck with my shoe and that's fine. You know what I mean? But like a few people, like they showed it mad love. Like I would send them the picture and they're like, bro, no way. Like, can I get a pair when they drop? Of course, I told everyone yes. You know what I mean? Like
you didn't even know how many they were making. Like
you could have made 5. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's like you just tell everyone. You have to tell everyone yes. There's no other option. You know. And so, but yeah, everyone like was hating on that. Like, oh, Sean's using all his famous friends. I was like, dude, Nike told us to do this. They literally told us to do this. Yeah. I'm like literally just doing like what I was told to do. Right. You know. Right. And so it was just it was weird. But
how did it feel when the announcement came?
It was a weird. I was having a really bad 2 days because I had went down into second place. So the dude from Russia was like beating me. I was in first place the whole time. When it got down to the announcement, like 2 days before, he'd gotten me, and I was like, man. In my head, I was like, yo, I was in the lead by so much. If he caught up, he's killing it. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, if he was able to...
Like, there's no slowing him down.
There's no slowing him down. Like, he's to the top. And just so you know, like, going through my head this whole time, like, this whole year experience, I kept telling myself, like, I couldn't lose. You know what I'm saying? Like, I kept telling myself that, like, this is the biggest opportunity in my life. And, like, I couldn't picture myself losing it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was trying to envision, like, life after losing. And I couldn't imagine what it looked like. Right.
It's like your whole life leading up to this was made for this moment.
Yes, I felt like that, dude. It was so crazy. I really felt like it was my time to shine, you know? But so I was in second place. I was so bummed out, dude. I wasn't really looking at people. I was sad, dude. I wasn't looking people in the eyes. I was just like bummed out. Nike threw this whole party, blocked off La Brea, got Travis Scott to perform there. And I just wasn't hyped. Like, I was pissed, dude. Like, you know, I was like, getting mad at security because they weren't letting all my friends in. I was like, fuck you. I was like, this is my fucking event. I'm about to lose this shit. I at least want my friends here hanging out with me. My God. You know what I mean? I was just like, man, just get them all in here. Like, You know what I'm saying? You know,
You literally said I'm about to lose this shit.
I was like, dude, I'm not about to lose this. And my friends like couldn't even be here for it. Like, let everyone in, yo. Like, come on, you know?
Yeah.
And so I'm in there, and dude, there's a picture of like when it announced, and my face is just like, you can tell you're like, oh my God, there's a year of stress in your fucking skin, dude.
Yeah.
And I just look so gross. And like, but I remember, so they were like, yeah, we did this special thing. They got like everyone in the room to just like go quiet. And they were like, we're going to announce the winner of Air Max Day this year. And I just like, you know, I was like, you know, good run, dude. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, good run. Like, I was like, Nike would have told me already if I won.
Right.
Because for media.
Right.
I was like, I would have been doing interviews right now. Like, you know how it goes. Dude.
Yeah.
You're like, dude, if I won, I would have known, because then I would have had to act surprised. And then, like,
Right. PR would have had this whole thing
PR
covered.
would have had it covered,
Yeah.
dude. I'm like, fuck, dude. So, like, the guy's up there, and he was like, yo, we have a really special announcement this year. I'm goosebumping again.
in real life right now.
In
yeah.
real life right now. And he was like, we have to announce the winner for this year's Air Max Day. He's actually here with us now. And I'm like,
You're probably like, wait, is the Russian here? Wait, is the Russian dude?
it was so hard. Like, I broke down just like I did right now. Like, my whole body loosened up, and I felt all jiggly, and I'm looking. And next thing I knew, everyone was crowded around me. Everyone
Damn,
was
I'm
crowded.
getting goosebumps
Dude,
now.
no, I was like, yo, I'm about to like melt right now just telling the story. But like, everyone was crowded around me. Graham, who does our show, was there filming.
Yeah, yeah.
And they like said my name, and I was like, I'm still speechless to this day. I'm still trying to find words for it. You know what I mean?
Like, are you punking me right now?
You know, I couldn't. I'm like, my legs like shaking, telling us. I'm just like, oh my God, it was so nuts, dude. It was so nuts. It was so nuts. And Graham told me, he's like, dude, they told me in the morning that you won. He's like, I had to hold this secret the whole day so I could be there filming it, because it was his job to film my reaction. He's like, dude, he's like, it was so fucking tough, like looking at you like that, because like I was, you know, so like emotionally just
suicidal.
distraught.
Yeah,
dude. And like, he was like, dude, like I almost told you a couple times, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was like, but I just had like he's like, I'm so happy I kept the surprise, because he's
Wow.
like, seeing that was like, you know,
Sick.
yeah, dude, it was tight. It was tight. It felt
All right,
really
so
good.
how long from that moment
Yeah.
till the shoes came out?
I
like-
think it was.
Did it take more than a year, or
I
was
think it was like
within that year?
I think it was up to 10 months. It was like anywhere between like 8 and 10 months, I think, or,
And was
or
it-
6 to 10 months or something like that.
Was
yeah.
it already done? Like, there was no tweaking after that?
No, so actually, like the shoe that Nike like portrayed, it looked completely different, because it was corduroy. I wanted people to see the texture of the corduroy, so Nike had to add shadows on it, and by adding the shadow, it changed the complete color of the Pantones we had chose, because it like wanted to adhere for this like shadow on it.
Yeah.
So people voted for a shoe that looked completely different. So I actually had to get back with a Nike designer, and we had to make the decision of, okay, are we going to do the shoe that I mocked up originally, or are we going to do the shoe that people voted on? Dude, and we went with the original mock-up, which was like the yellow and all that.
Lighter color.
Yeah,
right?
the lighter colors. And yeah, I mean, we had to go back, do all, you know, redo the colors, pick the Pantones, and just kind of perfect it from there, where it was like, all right, placement of the swoosh. Like, do we want the mini swoosh up further, back further, up, down, quality of the corduroy, the direction that it was facing. I was specific about everything. I would not let a stitch happen on that shoe without me having a word in it. And if like the stitch was going the wrong way, I want it the other way. You know what I mean?
Right,
So it's
right.
like, I'm extremely difficult to work with, but I think that we came up with like a phenomenal product,
Yeah.
you know?
And then all the patches and packaging
Yeah, the
and box.
Yeah, we just want to take
bag,
it.
everything,
Yeah, I
yeah.
just want to take it to the full extent. You know, originally I wanted to do a full corduroy box for like the premium ones, and Nike's like, okay, we'll do corduroy bags.
Right.
And I was like, dope, straight.
You gotta
know?
ask. Yeah, you
it's
get-
great.
yeah.
It's awesome. And so I kept hitting them with like these fantasies, and we were working with Game 7, the agency,
yeah.
and they just made it. They were making shit happen.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, I want to do a Volkswagen van covered in corduroy, you know, and they were like, all right, we'll try to make it happen.
that van, is that like Nike helped you make that van?
Yeah. Game
sick.
7 did that.
Wow.
Yeah. So I told them I wanted to do this like hippie inspired like tour kind of, because like I was looking up all these like hippie buses, because everyone was saying that my shoe was like a very hippie shoe because the corduroy and the colors.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, I can feed into that for sure, because like I grew up with like drug addict hippies, you know, I would watch them do their thing, but
Yeah.
it was whatever. I loved it. But yeah, I was like, I want to do this cool, like, they had this sort of signs where it was like make peace, not war. And I told Nike, I was like, I want to do this whole like peace truck with like these same signs and all this stuff, like make shoes, not war, you know, like all this stuff. And so they took that inspiration and they were like, yo, we can't cover it in corduroy, but we can do this like vinyl that looks damn near the same. And I was like, run it, let's
That's
do
dope,
it.
yeah.
And then it was actually Nike's idea to do the tour at the vegan restaurants. So I love that. That was a great part about working with Nike, is that like they're able to take your life, dissect it,
Yeah.
and figure out how to like involve different parts of your life in a project that you maybe wouldn't have had time for. So it's like,
I know. It's dope.
Yeah, it's so
They
dope.
they actually care.
They care, dude. It's so sick. You know what I hate? I didn't know that Nike cared that much, and like I would get so pissed. And now, like, you know, retrospective, looking back, like I think I was so much more of an asshole than I should have been.
Oh,
Yeah.
Is this your apology?
It could be an apology. Yeah, hopefully someone's out there listening. But it's like, you know, you can't blame me. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like,
You're
dude,
so
I went into
excited.
this as raw as possible, though. It's
Right.
like I had never sat in a fucking board meeting, design, and I didn't design shit. What did I design before the shoe?
Right.
A store?
Yeah.
The interior of round two?
Right,
Like,
right.
You know, it's like, so I was, you know, I didn't know how to deal with professional people and shit
Yeah.
like that. I'm in here like dropping F-bombs, saying
Right.
like, fuck this, fuck that, this is ugly, this is terrible, this shit's whack. You know, like hating on Roche runs when the dude who designed them's right next to me. I'm just like,
Nice.
It's like,
a lot of foot and mouth moments.
yeah. So I'm like, you know, so it's kind of just like, you learn, you know?
Right,
But
right. Here's my advice to you listening. When you get an opportunity, go all in. Now, you don't have to give it your all, but what's going to happen when you go up against a guy like Sean? Who's going to win that marathon? And that goes for the people that you surround yourself with, to the people that you tap to help, to the amount of detail that you put into your vision. You got to go all in. This was a once-in-a-lifetime moment for Sean, and there's no way he was going to phone it in. He wouldn't even be considered to be part of the program if he did. He went all in from day one, and it was this tenacity that led up to the success that he had. Even with round two, if you listen to the first part of this interview, he was meticulous with curating the experience that he wanted his customers to have. It was this level of consideration that helped him grow his passion for thrifting into a retail empire and subsequently becoming a partner with Nike. To be frank, there are tens of thousands of vintage stores all across the US. How Sean has been able to bring the best selections to his shop and also harness a digital presence to cultivate that core consumer is amazing. The only way he was able to shine above the rest is by going all in. So, I mean, the shoe hadn't even come out yet, so
Yeah.
you don't know, like, if the public's really gonna love it or not.
yeah, I had no idea because it was just a hype thing, really. At
Yeah.
that point, it was like, you know, a lot of really influential people posted it, so I think a lot of kids like felt like they had to like the shoe.
Yeah.
So like I had no idea what was gonna happen, dude. I was so scared actually, but I kept telling Nike, I was like, "Yo, let's do as many pairs as possible." Like I wanted to do 250,000 pairs. We ended up doing 100,000.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Which is a lot for a hype
It's a lot, dude.
release.
Right?
Yeah.
Like it really is. You know, and in my head, you know, granted, I had no experience. I thought they just did 1 million pairs of every shoe, so I was so mad that they only wanted to do 100,000 of mine. Coming back to think about it, I'm like, how fucking blessed.
Yeah.
I'm like, they barely do like 10,000,
I know.
20,000, 5,000, 10,000. Like
Yeah.
that's like the average run of a lot of shoes
limited
coming out
edition
now.
shoe, yeah.
Especially like a premium one like that. I'm like, God damn it, dude. Like,
You're a pain in the
blessed.
ass.
I was a pain in the ass. Yo, it sucks.
Yeah.
But like, I always learn. So it's
Right,
cool.
right.
You know?
But I think now that, how long has it been now? 1 or 2
dude,
years?
it's been 2 years.
But 2 years, but people like still run that shoe.
I
Like,
can't believe it. It was like a contender for shoe of the year this year.
uh-huh.
Like a lot of people said it was like their shoe of the year this year, and it was still like, you know,
Yeah.
people still upload that picture where it's like Kanye, Virgil, my fucking weird ugly ass, and then like, you know, who's the other? I don't know. It's like they always put someone else on there, but I'm like, damn, like how is my shoe still even in the contenders for it? Like,
It's so
to
sick.
me, it's my shoe of my life.
Uh-huh.
But for it to be other people's like shoe of their year, just like for
Yeah.
people to like it as much as they do, man, I'm so proud.
Yeah, you must be.
I am, dude. It made a lot of people really happy.
Right.
I think the best part about it was the inspiration. That was like the most fulfilling part about it all is I go through my DMs every day.
Mm-hmm.
This is gonna, man, people are gonna like be like, you bastards, so you are reading these ones that you're not responding to. I read every DM.
You just can't respond to everybody.
You can't respond to everybody, but just know like I'm reading all those, taking it in, and then like giving these like blessings to these people. Like I'm like, all right, hopefully that, you know, Johnny who's in 6th grade opening a store like mine with his dad kills it, and like I give him the best. But it's like, so I'm going through this, so much inspiration, dude.
Yeah.
That shoe allowed for so many people to just like do what they've always wanted to do, whether it's like a store, a clothing brand, or anything. Like I think Nike probably got 1 million emails from people who were like, yo, I love Air Maxes. If there's ever an opportunity, like Sean, let me
Right,
know.
right.
But it's like, dude, that's great.
Yeah.
I think, it lets so many people create stories.
Right.
And to fantasize a story is like the greatest feeling in the world, dude.
Yeah.
Like that's amazing. So that's the proudest moment about the shoes. It's just like the inspiration platform alone.
What did it do to the round 2 business?
Yeah, it killed it for us. It really
Pretty much.
it gave us the grandest of all exposure. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you can't ask for more than being on the Nike sportswear page, on their website, mentioned and things like that. All the other publicity and the coverage I got like really helped. Yeah, I mean, people shed a really beautiful light on round 2 during all that. It was cool. It was
Right.
nice, like, it was nice, like my store getting love along with like me in the shoe. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was cool. It definitely like, I mean, it opened us up to such a audience. Man.
Yeah.
Like everyone who comes in round 2 found out about the shoe.
Right.
They're like, oh man, I saw the whole shoe thing and found out you owned a store and I had to come.
Yeah.
I'm like, dope. All right, cool.
And now, only 2 years later, like, you probably have trouble walking through airports and walking down the street.
Yo,
right?
it's tight though. Yeah. It's cool.
Does it bother you? Like, now you're a celebrity.
I've never been bothered by it because I mean, dude, how could I be bothered? It's quite the honor.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? For someone to like recognize you and want to take a picture, I'm like, I've been bothered a few times, and then like in my head, I'm like, oh my god, I gotta find their IG and hit them up and be like, I'm so sorry that I was just like bothered, because it's like, dude, it's such a wow
Blessing.
dude,
Yeah.
insane that people remember you, might tell a story about you in 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
You just live forever at a certain point, and it's like so weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, dude, I love it. Like, I'll stop anytime. If you really want me to sign your shoe, which a lot of people do, and it's really weird, and I always try to tell them, like, are you sure? Because, like, this is permanent.
Yeah.
Like, this shoe is now, like, if you ever take a picture, it's going to have this black shit on it. So just,
Right.
like, really think about this, and they're like, you know what? Sign the box.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, cool. You know?
Right.
But it's like, I'm always down, dude. Like, it's so...
Yeah.
I
People have
love
to
it.
remember that, like, we're not artists.
Nah.
Like, that are like born to be celebrities. Like, this is our job. We're doing
Yeah.
our job.
Yeah.
And now you want to take a picture with us because we're doing our job.
It's
so
like,
it's
yo,
like,
thank you so much.
okay.
Yo, it's so true. You're so
Right.
true. Yeah, I feel like a lot of celebrities are born into it. You
Yeah.
know, they're like, fuck, like,
Yeah,
God
they're
damn
annoyed,
it,
yeah.
again. And for us, we're like, really?
Right.
You want a picture with me?
Yeah.
You're sure? You're going to waste that time.
Right.
You know, it's like, all right, cool.
Yeah, I know.
Please, dude, I'm down.
Last night on my flight here,
Yeah.
I was wearing the panda pigeons.
Oh, were people tripping?
Well, the dude in the plane was like, I looked down, I saw your shoes, and then I looked up,
then
and
he
I was
looked
like, yeah, he's like, holy shit, and he freaked out,
made
right?
his day.
And he's like, can I take a picture? I'm like, yeah, bro. He's like, yo, why are you here? I'm like, yeah, to release.
Why are
these-
you here?
Yeah, like to work. Like I'm
You're
here
not
to
in a
work.
castle, Jeff?
Yeah,
What
exactly.
the hell, dude? What, you didn't send the plebes?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, what?
Yeah, it's like no, I'm a person.
Yeah, dude,
But yeah.
that's God. How good does that feel, dude? When
It's
people
still-
say that and they're like, "What are you doing here?" And you're like, "You think I'm so special? I shouldn't be here."
Right.
Like what?
Yeah.
Like dudes, I'll be like, I was in Philly, like going to get like signing this lease for this car or whatever it is, a title, and I went to this vintage store and like dudes will come in and be like, "Yo, like what are you doing here? I can't believe this." I'm like,
Yeah.
shopping for some vintage, dude.
Right. Yeah.
But I'm so happy you're mind blown to see me in here.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
feels good.
I think people are still shocked that you go to like the Rose Bowl every.
Oh, dude.
Like you didn't like farm it out to like a whole team of scouring people to do it for you.
First of all, I'm too OCD for that. I'd be up their ass the whole time.
you got the wrong. You missed it.
What are you doing? What did you miss? Okay, I'm going there. I'm going there. I'm going gonna go and look. You know what I mean? I would dip there. I'd be like, well, you missed all it. Blah, blah. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, you know what? I'm gonna do this shit myself. But
Right.
I enjoy it, man. Like, I think that's part of like, I think that's why people like relate to me a lot is because it's kind of like, and I thought that this was the reason why I like kind of won the vote forward thing too is because me and my shoe were the most relatable.
Mm-hmm.
Not that like anyone else's wasn't like
Yeah.
a relatable story, but I think mine was just like the most average Joe.
Uh-huh.
When you looked at so Nike let us each make like this video material to push our shoe.
Yeah.
Everyone's was so, man, they let me watch everyone's before mine. And I was like, what am I doing here? I'm like, are you guys sure about this?
Why, they were like slick ass videos.
Dude, it was so sick. It was like these dudes were like, they were real designers, like
Yeah.
the dude from Tokyo, his video was like him on top of this roof in Tokyo, like in a tent. He wakes up in the morning, all the tents like float up in the air. He's like in the sky, and it was like this crazy. It was insane. Kyle, who does Brain Dead, he lives out here. His video was just like this whole trippy experience of him fishing, and then like all this insane like cartoonism, and just like it was nuts. And I'm like, because
You made a vlog.
because Nike was like, what do you? They were like, make the video about yourself. So I told them what I wanted to do. I was like, yeah, I wanted to like, start at round 2, walk to the flea market and walk back. Maybe we can stop and get lunch at Fratelli's. And I felt so whack.
Right.
The film crews here, and they're like, so what are we going to do? And they were like, just so you know, everyone got real trippy and like real crazy with it. Like, what do you have planned? And I was like, not to disappoint,
Lunch?
but sinking lunch. a quick stop at the Flea. I can show you around round 2. I was like, we could walk down the block.
Yeah.
You know? But it was just that.
People relate to it, though.
I think it was just easy to look at it and be like, wow, this dude's just like me. Holy shit.
I think other people were maybe trying to make like a Nike-level campaign
and they
video.
did. And they did.
Yeah.
They killed it.
Right.
They blew it out of the water. I felt so out of place.
So when you saw the video, you're like, shit.
Dude, I was freaking out. I was tripping. I was like, yo, I'm going to lose this like
It's
some
like,
shit.
that's like the feeling when you didn't do your homework and you go to class, right?
It was an embarrassing feeling too, because I was like, wow, like people are going to be comparing mine to all this amazing stuff, and I'm just like basic ass dude.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, this is really embarrassing, actually.
Right.
You know, but it turned out being cool. I was like, I think that people related to the average Joe. They were like, wait, I can actually wear this shoe.
Yeah, yeah.
Like this is sick. It's not some like conceptual,
right.
You know.
The great thing about Sean is that what you see is what you get. Even with a certain level of success, it's the same old Sean. He's someone who's curious, and not only curious about products and the brands that he loves, but also, and maybe more importantly, what he doesn't know. Never let thousands of followers or a major accolade get to your head. In today's weird digital world, there are more people singing their own praises than ever before. The type of person that you want to be is the one that's all about the impact of your work. Period. Be you, be true. So we talk about all the love, but the flip side of that coin is the hate and the criticism. Yeah. That had to have increased exponentially too, right?
It's hard to learn how to deal with that too.
Yeah.
I don't think people realize like it's so like props to Virgil and props to like all these dudes who are able to like open themselves up to millions of opinions and not fucking ever reply.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, it's like, man, I would want that more than anything. Like, it's so tough to like look at comments on like people hating shit, not to like.
It's tough.
It's so tough, dude.
It's
it was
tough.
tearing
It's
me
weird.
up.
It's like you get 500 positive comments, but one negative,
and you're like,
just eats you up. It's so strange. It's like a human.
With you, dude.
Yeah, it's a strange dynamic.
Do you get so close to responding where you'll type a response and you delete it? And you're like,
I don't type it anymore, but I wish the positive responses hit me as hard as the negative ones do.
Same. Oh, I agree. Yeah, it's so hard to like. It's so much harder to take in and like feel good about a positive response than it is to like the one dude who's like, fuck this dude reselling his own shoe, like all this stuff. And I'm like, God damn it. Huh? You know, it's like you take it so hard. But even the opinions on the shoe, man, I was like really, it was like killing me, you know? Because like there was mad hate. Because like then there's those blogs who do the posts where it's like ugliest shoe ever. You know what I mean? Like all this
the
shit.
Worst
like,
shoes of all time.
And I'm like, man, is this going to go down as the worst shoe of all time? Like, was it just really hyped at the beginning because everyone was posting it? But once people get it in person, it's going to be like, fuck.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so.
How did you figure out how to deal with it then? Or are you still figuring it out?
Dude, I'm still figuring it out. I have no idea. I have no idea how to deal with it. The best way to do is get off social media, right?
I know.
That's the only way to do it. Otherwise, you're just like attacked by every corner.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it sucks, man.
Yeah.
But like, it's like, you can't even say anything nice. You can't say something nice because if you say something nice, people wonder why you said something bad at one point.
Right.
They're like, wait, you're nice? No, you're not because you did all this. And it's like, I'm just trying to be nice.
Yeah.
It's like, can someone change? You know what I mean? It's
right.
But so, yeah, I don't know. That's.
And you know, one time recently in the past couple months, I replied to a hater.
Yeah.
And the second I replied, within 5 seconds.
Yep.
Like, okay, so it was a thread where, you know, like where someone types something and then there's like a whole thread within.
Okay. Yep.
But if the original guy deletes it, everything's gone.
Everything's gone.
So one guy said something bad. Everyone else was going in on him.
Uh-huh.
Then I went in on him as well.
Okay.
And in 5 seconds, he deleted the whole thread.
Boom.
And then I felt bad because now I feel like I ruined his day but he talked shit first, but I felt bad. I'm like, there's no winning this. There's no winning this.
Winning it, dude. There's none.
Yeah.
There's no winning it, dude. It's terrible.
It's really, you're right. It's like, just get off.
You just have to get off it. It sucks, man. I'm the worst. Like I said, I read through everything because like first I'm super OCD and it's like I want to know opinions.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm sitting there reading through everything. And it's just like, oh, dude, it beats me down.
What's your average ratio, like percentage wise? What's good versus hate?
Just like on a random post or whatever. Maybe like 70-30.
Oh,
dude, people love hating on me. I get a lot of hate.
I think it's because you're like a good guy.
Maybe
Like
Thanks,
if you had
yeah.
like if you had like neck tats and shit, it'd be
Yeah.
like harder to hate on
Yeah,
you.
I don't know. Everyone just, man, they really pick me apart between the whole vegan thing or like
You're just like
reselling my own
you're like a
shoe
happy
or-
guy, so it's like
trying to
very
be.
easy to like
I get
tear
the
down.
I get
a
the
happy
corny,
guy.
you know, you get the corny thing a lot where it's like, oh, this
Right? You're cornball.
yeah, cornball. It's like, all right, well,
Right.
people, it makes me fucking happy. So
Yeah.
whatever.
I
dude.
will say 9 out of 10 of those
Yeah.
haters, when you look at their account,
Oh.
it's locked.
Oh yeah.
There's 10 followers. It's like they made the account
posts.
just to hate on
Yes,
you.
dude. You're like, what are you doing on the internet?
Right. Just
You're
hating. Yeah.
Just hating. Yo, and then that makes you feel better.
Me too.
Yes.
Because I feel bad for that
Yes.
person.
Yes, dude, because you're like,
Aw.
you're like, your 10 friends are following you. You didn't have anything to post this year.
Right.
Poor guy.
You
had
made
to-
an account just to hate.
You had to
I
hate
feel
on
bad
me.
for you.
Yeah. Poor guy. You know? Good for him.
Agreed.
Good for him.
Totally.
Yeah, that's so funny, dude.
So the other thing that must be happening now is people must be coming to you for advice now,
Oh yeah.
right? Mm-hmm. When people come up to you and say, "I want to be the next you," what do you say?
Yo, best advice I can ever give, and it's like some real advice. Pick something that you want to be, tell the whole world that that's what you are, and never stop. That's it.
Yeah, that's
That's
what
it.
you and
You can do
your
whatever
two
you
friends
want.
did at round
you
two.
can do whatever you want. It is the guaranteed model. It's the,
guaranteed
it's
model.
the guaranteed model.
You
It's-
sound like a salesman right
That's
now.
what we all do.
Yeah.
That's literally what everyone in the world's done. You've looked at something that you're good at,
Mm-hmm.
and you've decided that, okay, I'm going to become the best at this.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you are or not, if you're telling people and you're coming off like you're the best at it, then you're the best at it. It's like there's like this line where it's like it was like this like Whitney Houston line like about her being a crackhead or something like that, and someone's like, "What? You're gonna like?" It was Cat Williams or whatever, you know. And it's like, dude, you can't tell someone they're not something if they're doing it.
Yeah.
You know. And so it's like my best advice to anyone is like, keep doing your shit, and then you become that person.
Yeah.
So it's like if you're the dude who it's like in your town, you're getting the best thrifted stuff. It's like embrace that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Embrace that person and just like ride it out. If you're having trouble finding out like what you want to be in life, or if you're having trouble finding your lane, sit back and like think about what you do during the day. You know what I mean? Think about like a hobby you might have, or think about just a way to like take something that you do that's average and then just keep repeating it and be repetitive about it. You know what I mean? Because either it's going to put you in a position where you're going to be like, you know, opened up to something else, or that turns into you, you know? So if you're like,
Yeah.
it's hard to explain,
and
but
right
it's
now,
like,
because of this world,
Yeah.
it can literally be anything.
anything,
that thing
dude.
could be.
yeah. And it's so easy because you start an Instagram for it, and you're like, there's this Instagram that comments my thing. He's like the egg daily. He comments everything I upload. He says, I post a picture of an egg every day and rate it.
And is that what he does?
He just posts a picture of an egg and rates the egg
Right.
from like 1 to 10.
And you'll find 10,000 people that'll be into what you're doing.
I've watched his Instagram grow.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like you'll see like these Instagrams, and it's like, so someone says like, oh, I'm the sneaker god or whatever it is. And it's
Yeah.
like if you put that out there and you like make the IG name for it,
Right.
and then you like go along with that, it's like, dude, you're then this person.
Yeah.
And it's like it's dangerous, but then it's also like it's great, dude. Like
Right.
when else have we been in a part of the world where you can actually be anyone?
Yeah.
Like
you could be a pro video gamer. You
Yep.
can have
Yep.
a sock company.
Yeah,
you could
a
have
sock
a pin company.
a
like,
pin company.
Yeah.
And you could be the best at it. And you
Right.
can say that you have the best pins in America. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't have to be. That's
Right.
your opinion. And then you might sell a few, and then people believe that they just bought the best pins in America.
Yep.
And they're going to tell some people that they bought the best pins in America from this website.
Yes.
And then you turn into this website that's selling the best pins in America.
Right. And then
All
like
because you just told-
Toyota calls you and does a collab because of your pins. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
that
No, it's
literally
so-
happens.
That
yeah.
literally happens. Like
Yeah.
that is just life. So that's
Yeah.
always what I tell people is that it's like, yeah, just pick what you're good at and just like keep going with it and just don't stop. You know, just figure your shit out and just like keep running it up.
Perfect.
You know?
All right, man.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, yo.
Yeah, that's dope. Hey, thank you for listening to this special 2-part episode with the inspiring Sean Wotherspoon of Round 2. As always, you can find out more about the show and listen to other episodes at hypebeast.com/radio. You can subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. I personally use Anchor FM. Also, leave a comment and tell us what you think of the show, and please tell a friend about the show. It definitely helps out a lot. You can also reach out to me on Twitter. I'm at jeffstaple. And we occasionally answer a listener question on the show. So if you got a question, shoot it over to questions@businessofhype.com. The Business of Hype is created in collaboration with Bright Young Things. You should check out their work at byt.nyc. Our director is Daniel Nevada. Our audio engineer is David Rogers-Berry. Our associate producers are Sydney Pacumpra and Christina Hong. This episode was recorded at Sibling Rivalry Studio and on location at the Round 2 store in Los Angeles, California. I'm Jeff Staple, and you've been listening to The Business of Hype on HYPEBEAST Radio.